Hey guys, welcome back to the second match here with Blue-Black Pirates. Looks like we lost the die roll, but that's okay. And let's take a look at our opener here. Kind of a sketchy one, right? But I think it's a keep, especially on the draw. We could probably find a third land. We have Fathom Fleet Captain into Curious Obsession, plus Fatal Push as interaction. So I think this is a fine keep. Again, Menace is really a really important keyword here. Feta Pools makes me think it's either Sultai or Blue-Black Control. Blue-Black Control might be a tough matchup if we don't draw the cards that we need for the matchup. For example, like Kitesail Freebooter, Glint Sleeve Siphoner is really good here if it goes unchecked. Okay, this could be Grixis midrange as well. Okay. Our permanents are going to have a tough time sticking around in a matchup like this. And we still have not found a land. Yeah, our mana base is definitely not very happy with us here. Could get censored. Essence Scatter. Okay. Not the end of the world. If they're blowing off their Essence Scatters here, I think that's a good sign. This Lookout's Dispersal is actually quite nice if we're able to find a blue mana. Not blue mana, but at least it's one of our better cards for the matchup, right? I suspect it'll just get hit by a removal spell. We really want to be able to keep up Lookout's Dispersal on turn 5, because Scarab God is something that we are quite scared of here. Yep, we see a Scarab God. Our opponent did not fire off Harness Lightning, which is very interesting. Wow. Opponent's hand is quite bad. So it looks like this is some 4-color energy list. I think we definitely take the Harness Lightning here. Yeah, or else they just get the Tune Aether back. Wow. So this is actually kind of a beatable hand if our opponent bricks on some lands here. Looks like our opponent played a Dragon Skull Summit. So we know that our opponent yeah. So we know all the cards in our opponent's hand at this point. I think we just want to keep up Lookout's Dispersal for that Scarab God. Otherwise, Scarab God just takes over the game. So as nice as it might be to equip, you know, the Curious Obsession here, we just don't have the luxury of doing that. And unfortunately, we need to find blue mana as soon as possible. So we know our opponent's hand is a Tune, Rogue Refiner, and an Unknown. And now that we got one of their scariest cards out of their hand, you know, our opponent not Harness Lightning here was quite an interesting choice for sure. Fatal Push, not the greatest card in this spot, but what's nice with our turn here is that we can still go end step Dire Fleet Poisoner if we so desire. As well as keep up Fatal Push for anything weird our opponent might have. Again, our opponent found the green mana, so definitely looks like we're having a game here. Alright, that's a blue mana. I think I'm more inclined to run out the Ruin Raider more than anything here. Again, we know the 2 cards in our opponent's hands are Rogue Refiner, Attune with Aether, and 1 Unknown. So Ruin Raider is likely to draw us a card, as is Curious Obsession, but Ruin Raider is definitely more mana efficient here. We've already made our land drop for the turn, and I'm not quite sure which you know, threat my opponent wants to use removal on. Wow, Lookout's Dispersal is a great draw, specifically towards future Scarab Gods. What's nice is we also have Hostage Taker against the Scarab God, of course, if it can dodge some removal. So I suspect my opponent's going to use their Attune with Aether here to fetch up another Forest, play the Rogue Refiner, and then, you know, off to the races here. It's definitely going to be a challenging game moving forward. Yep. This is an interesting energy build. So this is more of like the Grixis / green list, I guess, which I find odd considering how important green is to the fixing base. Interesting mana tapping. Alright, so we know none of the cards in our opponent's hand anymore. Swamp was a pretty good draw. Interesting. I kind of want to swing in with these two so I can get my triggers. The issue is we're kind of locked on blue mana here, which is the problem. I would have loved to equip Curious Obsession to like Kitesail Freebooter or maybe even Direfleet Poisoner. Probably just the Kitesail Freebooter, obviously because it's evasive. But I think I still want to keep up Lookout's Dispersal, considering my opponent's deck does have Glory Bringers and things like that. Land? That's really interesting timing in terms of removal spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My opponent's getting quite out of range of, you know, making this Lookout's Dispersal actually useful, but it can still counter 5 drops, and we still get this trigger here. I'm actually okay with this trade. Aether Hub. Aether Hub is a good draw because it's another blue source, at least for a turn. All right, there's another green source for my opponent. My opponent's getting to the spot. Another Rogue Refiner. Yeah, we can't counter that. So this is what I was a little bit scared about. My opponent just kind of gumming up the board here. Especially because we can't Fatal Push Rogue Refiners. At least not very efficiently. Another Lookout's Dispersal. Not great. Not great. So this, I will counter a removal spell targeting my Kitesail Freebooter. Yeah, so we're kind of stuck on blue mana here, which is a really big, really tough right now. Especially because our opponent's not playing low to the ground threats where we can make Fatal Push useful. So like drawing a Vraska's Contempt would be really nice here. Cleansleeve Siphoner. Yeah, that's a great post-combat draw, actually. Yeah. It's a threat. I get to keep up Lookout's Dispersal still. Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's also another energy source, which is going to be really nice for our Aether Hubs here. 3, 4. So if our opponent plays another land and goes like, ooh, Search for Azcanta, that's spicy. That is definitely spice. Obviously a little scary. We can't really interact with it. Opponent plays another land. I'd be interested to see if my opponent attacks here. I feel like they do. Because they can't block anything that we're doing here. But maybe not. Yeah, I think we take the extra card here. Bury our opponent in card advantage. Because they have Search for Azcanta, they're going to start answering our threats. We want to start flooding the board a little bit more. Hostage Taker, not bad. Alright, before we play our land out, I'm going to go ahead and swing out here. We could actually Hostage Taker the Rogue Refiner, interestingly enough. But let's first see what we draw. Fetid Pools, okay. Man, these Lookouts and Subversals are becoming really dead really fast. I think we do want to play Hostage Taker out, considering we have another one. Alternatively, we could have just played the Siren Storm Tamer. And this just puts us in a good position, assuming our opponent doesn't draw like Glorybringer. And our opponent still can't flip his Canta for one more turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can just use these Lookouts Dispersals to start taxing our opponent's mana. That's totally acceptable depending on what they do. Stop them from double spelling with all their mana. Looks like they decided to keep the card that they drew. Rogue Refiner. I'm actually going to say okay to that one because it'll give them a redraw, and I'd rather counter the spell off the redraw. Black mana, Fatal Push. Fatal Push would be really rough here. Attune, okay. Not too scared of Attune with Aether, that's for sure. Swamp, enter the revealed zone. Our opponent has a lot of mana. A lot of mana here. The question is, do we cycle the Fetid Pools? 3, 4, 5, 6. We can't counter a 2-mana removal spell anyways. Let's just go ahead and cycle. Cool. Okay, so we can swing in with these 2 evasive threats here, and then we can actually keep up double Lookouts Dispersal, which might be good enough to just get there. But let's go ahead and just attack first with our 2 evasive threats. Opponent goes down to 4. Yes. Interesting. Let's go ahead and let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's play the Aether Hub, and I think we can even play one of the Storm Tamers here. And now we have plenty of kind of protection against a lot of stuff that our opponent can do here. Right? We have double Lookouts Dispersal plus Siren Storm Tamer. It would take, I think, a sweeper effect to really punish us here. See, our opponent put an Aether Hub in the graveyard, plays a Botanical Sanctum. We have, lethal on board here. Our opponent's going to main phase as Canta, looking for some form of interaction, right? Because we have a lot of lethal threats here. I imagine it's going to be really hard for my opponent because even a Harness Lightning doesn't do it anymore, right? Siren Storm Tamer can counter the Harness Lightning targeting the Kitesail Freebooter. Vraska's Contempt, yeah, that just won't do it, considering what we have on board here. Yeah, we're in a really good spot from here. I'm actually not going to draw a card. I want to keep my energy for the blue mana. We're just going to go ahead and attack with Kitesail Freebooter, Glintsleeve, and Siren Storm Tamer. And we can counter the Vraska's Contempt. go ahead and counter that. My opponent needs double removal spell at this point to just be in the game at all. But yeah, so that game went a little bit slow. We kind of had to grind our opponent out, but we got there. So in this matchup, I like Chupacabra, I like Gonti. I don't like Gifted Aetherborn quite as much here. I like some number of negates, and I definitely like the duresses, right? So let's consider negates. Consider these. I think cutting Fatal Push is totally acceptable here. Curious Obsession against a deck with 4 Harness Lightning, some number of Abrade, maybe even Magma Spray seems very sketchy, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. We still have Ruin Raider as some card advantage there. Weirdly enough, Direfleet Poisoner is actually quite awkward here. We did see Essence Scatter though, so flash threats are quite nice. I think it's tough. I definitely want to bring these in. Vraska's Contempt is pretty good against the Scarab God, so I think I'll cut one Hostage Taker as well. There's not that many targets. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring all 4 Duress in. And I also like having, like, 2 negates here. The question is Hostage Taker even that good? It can get good in the grind. It really depends on what kind of build our opponent is on here. I'm not quite familiar, I'll be honest. So I think we can cut 1 Poisoner, 1 Fathom Fleet. We don't want to go too high on our curve, right? Maybe Chupacabra is just not that good in this matchup. Yeah, I'm just going to say Chupacabra is not great. Keep 2 negates in there. Make sure our curve is okay. I like keeping Warkite Marauder in here because it's a nice way to deal with Scarab God. Just make it like an 0-1 and then kill it in some way. Like with If Near Deadlands or something like that. This curve, yeah, I mean, it's got a 2-3-4 curve. Can't ask for much more than that, right? Especially because we got the Glint Sleeve plus Aether Hub start. Looks like our opponent is off to the races here with Attune with Aether. You know, a lot of people have been talking about whether that's like a bannable card. Not quite sure where I lie on that in that camp, but it's definitely powerful. Definitely a powerful card. So our opponent, okay, so quite clearly our opponent has a 2-mana removal spell here, but ooh, that actually does change things. Let's go ahead and play around Censor. I do like this because it's unlikely we'll keep out Lookout's Dispersal on our turn 3. So going turn 3 Glint Sleeve Siphoner when we can protect it, I think is better. Huh. Consign, Harness Lightning, Supreme Will. I think we just take the Supreme Will. I think it's the better card. Because I have no doubt in my mind they're going to Harness Lightning. Played Swamp. Deathcore Scavenger. Huh? That's not a card I expected to see. Huh. Based on how that transpired, taking the Harness Lightning would have been better. But I'm not too scared of this Deathcore Scavenger because we have Gonti to kind of lock it up. Just make sure we know what's going on in our opponent's hand. I think that's what we know about at this point. Fetid Pools, I think I'm actually going to play that out to fix our mana. It could be a redraw that we need, but I'd rather not use energy for Gonti. Alright, there's Aether Hub. I imagine this Glint Sleeve is not long for this world. It's interesting that Deathcore Scavenger You know, eats creatures in the graveyard. Huh. Looks like my opponent is... Okay, they're gonna eat their graveyard, and then I don't block, right? Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I would have blocked there, because I think there's no doubt in my mind my opponent... Wow, my opponent does not harness lightning. Oh, my God. I think my opponent's crazy. Rascus Attempt. That's a great pickup. Great pickup. Wow, I think I definitely just jam Gonti now. Let's go ahead and attack first, though. My opponent wants to end step, harness lightning. They may have drawn... Wow, okay. I mean, yeah, give me the energy, sure. I don't really have any haste threats. I guess there's Direfleet Poisoner. Really interesting sequencing that my opponent... I could have countered it, but I don't think it's worth it. My opponent needs exactly land Scarab God to really make a scary play here. They could also have Essence Scatter here. That would be quite good, but we do have backup Gonti. Ooh, don't... Oh, that's not very good against Consign, actually, right? We know about Consign, return target an online permanent to its owner's hand. If we played our opponent's Scarab God, we could just wait, right? We could also counter it. Yeah, you know what? I'm fine. I'm fine with that play. Yeah, Scarab God is just too powerful not to take, right? We already have our own Vraska's Contempt. If my opponent just bounces my Gonti here... Oh, Harness Lightning. Okay, our opponent drew another Harness Lightning. Sure. So, you're going to try to go on the beatdown plan here. I don't think that's going to work too great for them unless they start ripping lands off the top here. Again, that land is a good start because, you know, what we need right now is like a cheap threat to hopefully draw. That way it can turn on our Lookout's Dispersal. But then again, Torrential Gearhulk would not even be that scary. We drew our own Scarab God. I'm just going to go ahead and Gonti here. Alright, force my opponent into some really uncomfortable spots. Oh man, Essence Scatter. That's actually quite good here. We could also just take Gonti. Essence Scatter could be really poor if our opponent just goes... Actually, I think I'm going to take the Essence Scatter. If my opponent wants to consign into Oblivion here, I'm really happy about that. Excuse me, guys. I'm still just a little bit sick, but hopefully that doesn't bother you all too much. Alright, so we know... Yeah. I think we're in a really good position now. Like, if we draw a pirate off the top, we're in such a good spot. Alternatively, we could even just, like, pass the turn. Duress. Not great here. I think I'm just happy playing Gonti here. If my opponent wants to aggressively use Torrential Gearhulk next turn, we do have Essence Scatter. Wow, almost the same decision. I think at this point, I still take Gonti. Wow, Gonti has drawn us so many cards this game. That's insane. This is crazy. So Gonti, unfortunately, is not a pirate, but gotta make do with what we got. If my opponent wants to go Oblivion here, I'm actually okay with that. But looks like our opponent is probably just going to go Gear Hulk aggressively. We're going to say here, have a taste of your own medicine. My opponent does not have a good attack here anymore. And we just have more Gontis, Duresses, Scarab Gods, and our opponent's just in a really rough spot. Lands is actually fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The question is, do we want to play Scarab God here? Or do we want to just go Gonti and keep up Lookout's Dispersal? I'm actually going to go Duress here. Tune, sure. I think I'm actually going to play my opponent's Scarab God here. If my opponent wants to consign into Oblivion, I think I'm okay with that. We can even rebuy our opponent's Torrential Gear Hulk, but that doesn't do anything for us here, does it? So our opponent needs to top deck a removal spell, right? Wow, so they're just trading Deathcore Scavenger? Sure. Yeah, this is totally fine. Yeah, let's just go ahead and... Our opponent didn't even play their Gonti, which is ridiculous to me. So, I mean, sorry, they're consigned to Oblivion, so... Let's just go ahead and start rebuying Gontis here. Go crazy on our opponent. Wow. I like Essence Scatter more than I like Gear Hulk here, actually, because we don't have anything really. We have Vraska's Contempt eventually, but yeah, let's go ahead and put that on top. This way we can activate Scarab God again. Yeah, well, Scarab God just kind of takes over any game here, essentially. We can end step rebuy our Glintleaf Siphoner. We can end step rebuy our opponent's Deathcore Scavenger. Interestingly, our opponent is still not activating their Oblivion, and our opponent just concedes because we have such a lock on the game. It's going to be really hard for them to get back. So that's what's great about this tempo style deck, right? We can get aggressive early, but then we also have the Scarab God plan. I mean, in this case, it was our opponent's Scarab God, but we also had the Scarab God in our hand. So that was the second matcher against what looked like 4-color energy. And stay tuned for the third and final match with Blue Black Pirates. I'll see you all very, very soon.